All the way back in August of last year, Google debuted Cursive, a new progressive web app for handwritten notes, and it was okay. Actually, okay is probably being kind when we talk about how half-baked it felt at first. As it became more widely available, we began testing it pretty regularly on a variety of Chromebooks, and the test didn't go too well. The main issue came down to input lag, and when we talk about apps made specifically for handwritten notes, the pen-to-screen feel has to be good. Cursive was not. But things have rapidly changed on that front, and with the release of ChromeOS 102, Google has fully announced Cursive to the broader Chromebook audience. The good news? It's actually a useful working app that I'd encourage people to use now. But there's bad news too, and it revolves around the not quite universal experience of Cursive across different Chromebooks with different screens and different processors. So let's talk about what works well, where the problems lie, and what you need to know to get the best handwriting experience possible out of Cursive. But real quick, before we get into that, this video is brought to you by Penoval. Penoval makes fantastic USI pens for Chromebooks, styluses for iPads, and Surface devices that are well built, stylish, and come with a reasonable price tag. Their latest model, the USI 702 Chromebook stylus, comes with some pretty sweet features like USB-C charging, a unique eraser on the end, and a more solid pen tip with enhanced palm rejection. In our time with this pen, it's worked on nearly every single Chromebook we've tried, and the eraser works just as you'd expect in all sorts of apps with no setup needed whatsoever. In addition, they also have the overall most popular stylus on Amazon as well, the Penoval USI 150, and it generally goes for less than $50. If you're interested in picking up one of Penoval's great pens, check the link in the description to find out more. Let's begin with the good stuff, shall we? With the update to ChromeOS 102, Google has put pieces in place to make Cursive pretty great when it comes to pen input lag. On the right device, I'm pretty blown away by how much better it is, and not just from a general improvement standpoint. Like, it would be one thing to say Cursive went from this terrible thing to being not so bad, but it's better than that. It's really gone from kind of unusable to a tool I feel like I'm going to start leveraging on a daily basis. Again, on the right device, the input feels incredibly pen-like, and even with my terrible twitchy handwriting, the USI pen on my Chromebook screen picks up every dot, every dash. The only app I've used on a Chromebook that makes the pen feel this good is Squid, and it's been pretty great for a few years now. Being an Android app though, it's had a few issues here and there on Chromebooks with like scaling and various other bugs over the years, so I've been waiting for a proper PWA to use on my Chromebook for this sort of task. Until now, web-based apps have failed to deliver truly usable levels of pen lag, but Cursive is totally there with this latest update. Whether it's quick strokes, long strokes, dashes, or just dots, Cursive keeps the digital ink right under the pen now, and it makes taking notes feel about as close to on-paper writing as I've felt in a Chromebook. The upgrades are truly great here, but they aren't without caveat. So let's talk about that bad news now. In our somewhat limited testing here in the office, I can confirm that the silky smooth experience I just got done describing isn't the case on every Chromebook across the board. I suppose this is to be expected, but when we start talking about the universal nature of USI pens, universal stylus, web apps, and ChromeOS, it just rubs me the wrong way to think that the inking experience with Cursive could vary this much from one device to the next. For example, on devices like the new Acer Chromebook Spin 513 or the Lenovo Flex 5i, Asus CX5400, or HP Elite Chromebook C1030, Cursive feels like near perfection. I can see myself actually dropping into tablet mode on these types of devices and taking notes during a meeting in a way that's actually going to be usable afterwards. That's just not been the case for me with Cursive up until this point, so that's a really cool thing. But the opposite is true with other devices like the Asus CM3 Detachable or the original Chromebook Duet or the new Duet 5 or the ThinkPad C13, where Cursive still exhibits plenty of that irritating pen lag that honestly makes it kind of useless. My working theory, at least for now, is that there's a great deal of importance put on the processor when it comes to Cursive's ability to translate pen strokes into some sort of digital input. For now, it feels like it may be as simple as faster equals better though, since the input on devices running processors like the MediaTek Companion 1380 or 10th and 11th gen Intel Silicon are clearly faster than most and are far better at running Cursive. It's unclear whether or not there's some sort of performance threshold that needs to be met to have a solid experience with Cursive, or if it just comes down to certain processors dealing with this sort of input better than others. I mean, for instance, the AMD Ryzen 5 and the ThinkPad C13 isn't exactly a slouch, but it has a ton of pen input lag. It's just kind of a bit confusing. The only other factor to consider here would be the quality of the screen and the digitizer that any given Chromebook may use. All hardware isn't the same, that's obvious, and there's a chance that certain Chromebooks will simply come with less capable screen digitizers and will unfortunately be less desirable as pen input tools. This doesn't seem to be the deciding factor with Chromebooks that we've tested here, but it's something that needs to be taken into consideration for sure as we really start taking Chromebooks more seriously as handwriting devices. So where does that leave us then? How are you supposed to know which Chromebooks are great at handwriting and which ones aren't? Well, the first thing we have to consider with that question is the fact that it really does seem like Google has Cursive in a solid enough spot that we can now rely on it more as a constant and not so much as a variable anymore. That's pretty awesome, and it means we can stop pointing the finger at the app as the problem and now focus on hardware differences instead. Unfortunately, at this point, that still doesn't make it easy to know if the Chromebook you intend to purchase is going to be good at handwriting stuff, and that's still a problem. For now, I'd say devices with faster processors generally seem better at taking pen input, but that clearly isn't the rule, it's just a likelihood. In the past, we've not put too much stock in one Chromebook being better at pen input than the next, but it seems like we need to start doing a better job of that moving forward. You can rest assured we will, but until more devices show up for testing and we can apply more broad categories for Chromebooks, both good and bad at pen input, my suggestion would be to err on the side of speed. The faster the Chromebook, the better your chances are of having a solid handwriting experience. But guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, head down there, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring the notification icon as well if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Until next time, we'll see you.